Welcome back, everyone, to the Happy Closing Day Show. I'm Austin Evans, your Central Arkansas Realtor. And again, we've got Steven Reynolds, local mortgage lender. Steven, how you doing?
I'm good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm doing great, man. Can't complain, and no one would listen anyway. So, I mean, just living the dream is what I like to tell people. But so today, Steven, we are continuing our Buyer Basics, How to Buy a Home series. And a big one today is we've been talking about last few weeks, okay, you're getting started, you assemble your real estate team, you get that pre-qualification letter. We talked about interest rates in the last video. And today, though, we want to talk about this becomes the fun part. It's you've been house hunting and there it is. Oh, there's the house. You found the dream home that you want and you're ready to make an offer. And so today I kind of want us to unpack, okay, you found the house, now what? We'll kind of just go into that, what you do. So Steven, first off, what's your role at this point when your clients have found a dream home?
Sure. So if somebody says, hey, I found the house, we're ready to make an offer, I'm going to send them a pre-qualification letter.
Yep.
To match their offer.
Yeah, and you touched on it in a previous video. It tells the sellers you're serious and you've done your due diligence. And any buyer I work with, I tell them on the front end, I want that letter from your lender, submit it with the offer. I do every client because it's just that stamp of approval from the lender. They've done their due diligence, they're good to go, and we don't see any issues with you not being able to get that. Now, talking about this current market, how it's a fast-paced moving market out there. When it comes to pre-qualification, we've come across people, I know you probably have, saying, well, I'll get that letter filled out when I find the house. In a market environment that is like this, a seller's market where we have low inventory and such high demand, kind of explain why that strategy isn't the best strategy.
Sure. Because in this market, if a house has a dozen offers on it, if you haven't already gotten pre-qualified, there's 10 other people out there who already have. And so they're one step ahead.
Yeah. And two, another thing on that is, we talked about this off camera, but who you're pre-qualified with, it can mean a big difference, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If I'm a seller and I see a pre-qualification letter from 1-800-Mortgage Company, and I see a letter from a local lender who I know from the community, I know which one I'm going to go with.
And guys, a little insight to the realtors, when we're reviewing the offers to review and go over with our clients, that is something we look at, because if you compare two different, they could be the exact same offers, but if hey, this lender, there have been some hiccups along the way, they may have some hidden things that we've experienced in the past that could delay closing, or cause the deals to go south, versus, hey, we got that local lender who I've worked with on the other side and on this side, they get the job done. And at the end of the day, we've got to represent our clients and do what's in their best interest. And sometimes that really is it. So that's definitely the big first step, guys. You're ready to make an offer. You want to do that. I would say this too. So we've got the letter. On my end, what I'm doing is we've gone over in this market before we even go into the house, we have a good idea of if we like it, this is where we're looking at it. I'll tell you, this is something that I'd highly recommend and hope all your realtors are doing, and that is they're running comps. You've heard that phrase, comps on a house. So any house I show to any of my buyers, I'm running comps before we get to the house. I want to know what has sold in the last 3 to 6 months, what they've been going for, how long they stay on the market, try to find a comparable house. So I know when we sit down with Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, hey, this is what I would recommend. These are the ranges of the homes. So, because you don't want to overpay for the house too.
That's right.
And that's a big one too, especially in this market. I know that's a question a lot of people are concerned about. Is I don't want to overpay and it's going so fast, but having that knowledge broker, your knowledge team from your lender who's quick to get that letter out, because that's a big one too. Sometimes you're waiting on a letter and house is already gone, and so you don't have. But also knowing, hey, this is where I would offer the house, and this is probably what it is worth. I think that goes a long way as well. But basically, drawing the contract up. I get it drawn up, guys. I email it out. E-signature technology is great today.
Absolutely.
Don't have to write it and take it over to you, but sign it. And one thing too, for anyone out there who's looking to buy a house, especially in a seller's market like this, when you're probably in a multiple offer situation, maybe even you could be in a bidding war possibly, but there needs to be somewhat of a sense of urgency. So when your realtor says, I'm sending you the contract now for you to sign it, guys. The technology is great. You can sign it literally on your phone in like a minute. I mean, it's quick, because that way we can't send it over to the sellers until our clients have signed it, because then it's not a true offer there. That's definitely a big thing there. So, but also, before we get to that point, I kind of jumped ahead there, Steven, but another factor you kind of have to weigh in on the offer you're going to make is going to be, you hear the phrase closing costs, and then you've got this phrase called cash to close. Can you just kind of dissect what those phrases actually mean?
Sure. And like I told you off camera, we say cash to close in the industry all the time, but it's absolutely not cash.
Yeah.
Money from the mattress won't work.
Don't get it out of the coffee jar, guys, and bring it to Steven.
That's right. We want to see it in a bank account.
Yeah.
But the cash to close is going to be your down payment and any closing costs. It can come in the form of one cashier's check or wire. Both of those together is going to be one amount that you need at close. But the cash to close, your down payment, and then closing costs. So closing costs really are, it's another term that we throw around, but closing costs really can also be broken down into closing costs and prepaids. So the closing costs are going to consist of any bank fee, the appraisal fee, any title fees. Any third-party fees are going to fall in that closing cost category. And then prepaids are going to be your prepaid taxes. We're going to collect a couple months reserves for property taxes to be held in escrow. And then also homeowners insurance. We'll collect a couple months reserves of homeowners insurance, and also prepay a year's homeowners insurance up front. And so all that together is what we would call closing costs.
And guys, the reason I want to bring that up, if you're not aware in today's market, the way it's moving, I know locally especially, it may be different in your market, but here locally in the Central Arkansas area, most time, if you're making an offer on a house, it's tougher and tougher to get sellers to pay the buyer's closing costs, which was the norm here locally just a couple years ago, really pre-COVID. And so with the closing cost thing, the reason it's a big deal is you have to budget for that, because if you're making an offer and you don't have that cash in the bank to pay your closing costs, that's going to affect your offer. And two, you got to communicate that with your realtor and your lender, so you're not surprised at closing all of a sudden, hey, I don't have the money to pay my closing costs. And so that could be something, definitely have that conversation on the front end with your realtor and with your lender as well. So
you bring up a good point regarding the closing costs being paid by the seller, and you know, used to in this market was very normal. Now a lot of times when I see people trying to have sellers pay closing costs, what they're doing is they're going over asking price and then hoping that the property appraises. Because ultimately the bank is going to lend they're not going to lend more than the appraised value.
And that's something, guys, I'm glad you touched on that. We will, our next episode, we're going to come out with, we're going to talk about, just kind of wet your whistle there. We're going to talk about, okay, you made the offer and got accepted. Really exciting. Congratulations. You're under contract. So what happens behind the scenes when you're under contract to closing day? And appraisal is definitely going to be something I really want to touch on, because that's something that can help quell some concerns about overpaying for the house. I know it's a big one in today's market. So we will definitely touch on that here in the next episode. But Steven, again, thank you so much for coming. Got you coming next week for it, so we can wrap this up. Again, thank y'all so much again for watching. Again, any questions or comments, put them down below. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day.